I've got a trade to propose you.
Oh yeah.
You get CJ Stroud. We get the division for the next 10 years. Dun, 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 dun. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Oh God, the sun. Here comes the sun. Turn it off. I don't think that's how that song goes.
All right. Did you just pull up the live stream?
I sure did.
Like your style, I need to do the same.
Hopefully, we get some folks chiming in. And even if we don't, fuck them. They can watch it tomorrow. Duuuval. Hey, it's my boy Robert Atzert. Let's go. Bro, you Duuuval, baby. Come
Robert be
on.
showing up, man. Robert shows up.
Show up and show out. That's what I'm talking about. This
does,
guy.
man.
Hell yeah. Duuuval. Let's go, baby. I try to not be like super loud, but on game day though, at the stadium, you'll hear me from across the stadium. I'm very loud.
All right. So let's get it. Welcome to the first live edition of Duuuval Thursdays. Technically Duuuval 9, right? We're 8 or 9.
Yes, 9.
9. Duuuval Thursdays 9 here on CPN, and we're going live because
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
We did it for the draft for the first round, so we're gonna keep doing it. Isaiah has joined me on today's show. We're going to be talking exclusively about the Jags, and of course, he is our resident Jags fan, so he will be giving his take on the Jacksonville Jaguars draft. I am Curtis, the host of the channel, and I am a Texans fan, and I will be unbiased asking host-style questions this entire time. We are at 338 subscribers at the time of this broadcast. So we're trying to hit 1,000. Help us be a part of that. Share the live stream if you can. Smash the thumbs up on this. We're trying to get in front of as many people as possible. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about the draft picks, so let's start with the top. The Jaguars did a lot of interesting moves. They were probably going to get this guy at 24 and then realized that he was going to be available later on and traded back a couple times.
The chocolate bar was great, like all the sleepers in the Jags draft. I agree, Robert. I really do. It was a good draft. A lot of sleepers.
Yeah. So Anton Harrison
Dog
was the first round pick this year at 27. After the Jaguars managed to pull off 2 trades to trade back from 24 to 25 and then 25 to 27. And then Anton Harrison solidifies the right tackle spot after Jawan Taylor made his exit for Kansas City for $20 million a year. So,
yeah. To play left tackle.
Yeah, to play
We'll
left
see how
tackle.
that goes.
Yeah. And then you've got, of course, Captain Peds himself over there on the left side, and he's probably going to be replaced by, Walker Little?
Yeah, Walker Little. As my Little League coach always said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So,
He was trying an interesting method of cheating, though.
Yeah, he was just recovering from his injury.
So, what have you learned about Anton Harrison since you've digested all of this?
He's a dog. Dude is 6'5", 6'4", 6'4". That's right, 6'4", 315 pounds, hailing from the DC area.
What?
Sorry, Pat McAfee show, no copyright. Anyways, 4.98 seconds on the 40-yard dash for a big man. That's moving for an offensive tackle. Some D linemen are starting to get up there and get faster, but that's moving for a tackle. He actually was a basketball player into high school, and then he converted over and started playing some football. And he said he knew once he started playing football and got to the high school level, that was whenever he kind of understood that his roles in high school, good Lord, his role is at playing football, not the NBA. So here we are. He had an 8 foot 9 inch broad jump. Talk about explosive for a 315 pound man. There's linebackers and freaking corners that don't jump that far. 28 and
Yeah.
a half inch vertical. I mean, that's pretty dang good for a 315 pounder. I'll tell you what. Not quite my vertical, but whatever, it's higher than my vertical. 1.77 seconds, 10-yard split. That's actually pretty dang good. He's very explosive. He's got pretty violent hands, but can get caught. Wouldn't say being too weak at times. He just, sometimes he gets a little bad hand placement, but he does have pretty sound technical skills. One thing I'm most excited about Harrison is that he is probably one of the more polished pass protectors in this draft, one of the most polished linemen, and he's only 21. He's the youngest tackle that was taken in the first round. He turned 22 in February of 2024, so he's really young. Him and Walker Little, who's only 24, could really be a great duo for a long time in Jacksonville if they decide to stick around. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. He's very agile for a big man, and he's really going to help us out on that right side. He played one game last year at Oklahoma at right tackle. He was just thrown in like literally right before the game. They had make a game time decision. He says there was no drop off, and he feels like he can play any line of scrimmage position. And I feel the same with being that agile for a big man. That's really their problem is like switching sides because they don't know how to move their feet on both sides. But having that basketball background, he can really move.
Yeah. Oh, were there any picks that the Jags made where you were just like, why?
So as much as I love Florida and Ventrell Miller, I think that was kind of a head scratcher for me. I can understand it though if they don't plan on keeping Foye past his 3 years on his contract, and they plan on moving either Josh Allen if we keep him, or Trayvon Walker down to the line of scrimmage. I think Devin Lloyd probably get some reps at outside linebacker, or even whenever Josh Allen leaves, they might move Devin Lloyd out there. Have Trayvon and Lloyd coming off the edges, and then Yusir Abdullah getting those rotational reps in there. But the Ventrell Miller pick just kind of didn't make sense unless that's their plan, is to try and get him developed enough, get him in there to play. 'Cause he's a very smart physical player. Yeah, and like Robert was saying, he's definitely a Quarterman replacement. I think Quarterman's kind of undervalued, honestly. He plays pretty well when he's in, but of course he's one of those guys that's probably, once he's in more than he should be playing, that's when his play starts to drop off. He's one of those guys that can make highlights off of his couple of plays a game. But Miller's going to be a special teams guy, and he understands that. And he's a very intellectual player. He's a little bit undersized, though, I would say. I mean, 6'2", 232, 237, somewhere in that range. You're going up against an offensive guard, something like that. I mean, you got to have quick hands and get off of him, but he is a really good at the point of attack. But yeah, no, that was really the one pick I was like, why?
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily upset with it because we still got some other great players later, like Antonio Johnson. That was my favorite pick in the draft.
And that was going to lead into my next
Yeah.
question. A lot of our conversation before the draft was trying to address a nickel or a slot need, and then potentially somebody who could fill in for Rayshon Jenkins when and if he moves on. Do you think that move was made with Antonio Johnson, or was there another defender that fills another role?
So I think Jags fans are going to have a little bit of outrage when I say this. I think that Eric Hamlet out of Pitt, not Pitt, yeah, Pitt, right? Yes, out of Pitt. I think he is actually going to be the guy to fill in the slot position to battle that for Trey Herndon. I think Johnson will get reps in the slot, but as more of the big nickel, not really to go out there in coverage as much. I actually think that not Hamlet, I think it's Hallett.
It's Hallett.
Yeah, my bad. Eric Hallett out of Pitt. Eric Hallett the second. I really think he's very athletic. He's more athletic than Trey Herndon. He's not super huge. He's only about 5'10", I believe. He can move pretty quick. He's got quick feet. He's got good ball recognition. He recognizes the ball well when it's in the air. I think Johnson was pulled in to play that big nickel box safety role, kind of like Jenkins does. They'll probably beef him up to about 205, 215 by the season starts, somewhere in that range. 6 foot tall, 4.52 40. He's got really good closing speed and first step agility or first step burst whenever he's going into cuts, and he's really biting on stuff. Johnson is a zone box safety. Yeah, for sure. And you're not really expecting him to run deep with people, so that's why I think Hallett might be the guy. Because I think Hallett's a little bit faster, and I think Johnson's gonna be taking that Rayshon Jenkins spot probably next season or the season after. He's got time to develop.
So there's another 6th round pick the Jags made, 6 round or 6 picks
Braswell.
before. Yeah, Braswell. So I guess he's an outside corner.
Yeah, I'm not too huge on Braswell. I think he was kind of one of those guys where we probably tried to trade up and couldn't and got somebody else, but we didn't feel like we had to pick Hallett there. Because I think they really liked Hallett. I like Hallett personally, the way he plays the game. I don't really understand. Not understand. I don't really know how he's going to turn out. Rutgers cornerback is a sleeper. Yeah, Robert, he definitely could be. I haven't watched enough Rutgers. I really don't watch a lot of college football nowadays because Florida sucks. So I mean, we'll see. He could be good. I think he had a little bit slower of a 40 time though, if I'm not mistaken.
And he's already 24. He spent 6 years in college.
Yeah, he's an older cat. But we'll see. I mean, he's going to come in. I will say this right now. This is my hot take, if you will. At least 12 out of these 13 guys make the roster. For it,
Interesting.
Yep. I'm thinking. Well, let me dial that back. I'll say 11. I think guys who might not make it, Braswell and what's his name? Parrish. I don't know. Derek Parrish was kind of a weird gadget pick. Yeah. So we'll see. That might be his saving grace, is if we want to run some big ones. But we shall see. He doesn't turn his head like Campbell. Yeah, but Campbell had all the intangibles though, is one of my things. I don't really see this. I don't really see the same thing in Braswell. Again, he might surprise me and he might be better than I'm expecting, but I really don't see the same intangibles and same extra traits like Campbell's a prototypical corner. He's 6'1", ran a 4.3 something 40 time. I mean, he's a big dude who can move and he's long. So I just don't see the same thing. But again, that's one of those things where I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't see him making the roster, honestly. So I think the guys we drafted last year, I don't know about Gregory Jr., but I know Monteric Brown is going to make a push too. He's pretty dang good. People don't give him credit. He was all SEC, led the SEC in picks. Not the last year, but the year before, right before he was drafted. He's a great cornerback, and he actually played really well when he was on the field. So I think that we're just going to have to see how it plays out, but he'll definitely be battling for a spot. I don't think he makes it, though.
Okay. Let's talk 4th-round selection. Tyler Lacey, a defensive end out of Oklahoma State.
Dog.
So he's going to be playing. The Jaguars play what kind of defense? Is it a 4-3 or a 3-4?
3-4 hybrid.
Okay. So that's like a multi-front.
Lot of moving parts. Yeah.
Okay. So he'll be occasionally in the A to B gaps, and then for the most part, he's going to be head up on the tackle at the 5 tech. But is he? How big is he? Is he a big guy?
Oh yeah, he's 6'4", 279 pounds. And he ran, I think, a 5'11" 40. So he's not super. He's definitely not that fast. That could be no. I think that was Hodges. What was Tyler Lacey? What was his 40 time? Hold on a second. So I think he's a little bit quicker than I thought he was, but I don't think he's like anything special. No, it was a 5. Yeah, it's a 5'11". Okay, 5'11" second 40. But at 6'4", 279, he did 30 reps on the bench. And he had a 1.72 second 10-yard split, 9'8" broad jump. I feel like I'm just reading off Anton Harrison again. Good Lord. He had a 7'6" 3-cone, 28.5-inch vertical. That's wild. That's the same thing. But yeah, so I mean, he's a guy I'm excited about, actually. He's coming in to replace DeJuan Smoot. But I think he's not as shifty and fast as DeJuan Smoot was. DeJuan Smoot was a little bit smaller. Smooth actually was an edge rusher coming out of college, and he put on a like 20 pounds or so, 20 30 pounds to like make to like continue to make the team and play interior, originally because we had Jan and Fowler. Um, Crazy enough, he got drafted with Jan, and he's like one of the only ones still here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, he's a Tyler Lacey though, dude. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's very versatile. He's going to rotate everywhere from in like a lightning package. He might play the nose. He might play nose in lightning package. I see him going anywhere from the 3 tech to the 5 tech on a regular basis. He's never going to play like a wide, like a 7 or a wide 9. But I mean, I definitely could see him rotating a lot, making some mismatches, or he defeats the blocks, and he actually has pretty good pursuit for a big guy. He never takes his eye off the balls. Um, yeah, dude has huge arms, legs, and hands, dude. I mean, 10 and 7/8 inch hands. I mean, you're getting punched in the chest by that every play. 33.5 inch arms. I mean, I'm excited about him. He's another one of my like. I like most of the draft, but he's another one of my favorite picks in the draft.
Okay. Um, so the second round pick out of Penn State, Brenton Strange, the
Quite
tight end.
strange.
Quite strange. I guess he'll be called Doctor Strange more than likely, right?
Of course,
Especially if he has a doctorate. That would just,
that'd be really cool.
yeah. Um, but I don't really know much about him. He was not one of the. I assume he was probably the fifth if there was a top five tight ends in this draft.
He was definitely underrated. I think he was rated out as the seventh or eighth tight end in the class. A big reason for that, though, is the fact that he played for Penn State, who just runs the ball all the time. They do what I like to do, and they run the damn ball. He some of his numbers actually really jump off the page for me. He's a very willing blocker. I mean, he throws his body in there like a fullback, dude. Like he's crazy. And like he said in his interview originally when he got drafted, I mean, he's played Y, he's played H, he's played actual fullback. I mean, you can move him anywhere. He said in his interview, you could put him at any position on the offensive line, and he feels like he can block effectively. He's
Gotta
six
love
foot.
that.
Oh yeah, dude. Dude is willing and able. 6'4", 253 pounds, 31 and 1/8 inch arms. Had a 36 inch vertical
Mm.
for a guy who's 6'4", 250 pounds, 4.7 40, which I mean isn't blazing, but that's pretty quick for a tight end, honestly, especially with his size. A 1.5 second split on his 10-yard split, which is really good. He's explosive off the line of scrimmage, 23 reps on the bench. I mean, it's hard not to like that. And a 10-foot 4 inch broad jump. Dude tested like a 91 on the RAS scale or whatever it is. I mean, dude,
Over 70% contested catches, says Robert.
yep, ever 70%. And he had like what I think 2 years ago he had like 4 drops. This past year he had one. And it's really hard to have that whenever you have a quarterback like they had, but we're not going to get into that because that's not what this is about. But they didn't really ask him to catch the ball much. He was really productive when they got the ball in his hands. He's not running anybody. He's not outrunning anybody down the field. If he gets that opportunity, I mean, he's quick enough to get in the end zone, and he's willing and able to run through people, and he keeps his feet moving. I love watching it. Him and that Parker Washington kid from Penn State. They're both really alike in the fact that they keep their feet moving and they do not let people take them down easy. Normally, it's not. It has to be more than one guy taking them down. Normally. Um, Very underrated. He was definitely a Doug Peterson pick. I mean, the more you watch his stuff, the more you like him. Um, and I'm really excited about him actually.
Okay. I mean, I assume that they would have to get somebody eventually for a long-term answer if Evan Ingram, he's
Yeah,
he's
we'll see
truly
how that
through.
goes.
Yeah. Third round pick, number 88, Tank Bigsby, running back out of Auburn. Now,
The
this one
tank.
surprised me because I really didn't think that running back was that big of a need. And I think we had agreed on that a little bit before the draft. So,
Yes, I have seen the error in my ways, and they have made it. It has come to light. How many games do you remember? I don't know how much Jacksonville you actually watched last year, but how many games do you remember where ETN had to come out at least once or twice, or like missed entire games? He
uh,
he he missed drives consistently, or like he would get hurt, and like they'd keep him out just in case. I don't want to go into this season relying on Jamichael Hasty. and Dearness Johnson and Snoop Connor to carry this backfield. I feel like Dearness Johnson is good, like I'd mentioned before, but Tank Bigsby is another guy. He's very similar size to ETN. Um, what is he? I think he's 5'11" or 6 foot, 200 pounds, base 205 pounds, 210 pounds.
Ran a four
Um,
five six.
yeah, ran a 4.56 at his pro day, ran a 4.45. I think his tape shows he's more of a 4.5 flat kind of guy, right down the middle, honestly. Don't forget to light up the like, but hey, the Moderate Texans podcast. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping in for sure. Um, but anyways, Tank Bigsby is one of those guys where like if ETN goes down, I don't feel that far off putting in Tank Bigsby because Tank Bigsby is a guy that was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, or he was. Alabama offered him in his freshman year in high school. That tells you how damn good this kid is. Alabama doesn't offer that many people in their freshman year of high school. Tank is Robinson, and yeah, he does have really good vision too. He's my favorite type of back. He's a one cut back. He's not going to try and put 16 juke moves on you and break your ankles and then get tackled from behind by some fat lineman who finally caught up. Like he's going to put his foot in the ground. He's going to take one step, and he said he doesn't he said he doesn't he doesn't feel like he's a power runner. He just lets the anger out when he runs. And that's one of those things like I would much rather put in him or Dearness Johnson on the goal line than I would with putting ETN up the middle every single play, taking 90% of the snaps. Because, while I love ETN played really well last year and he broke a lot of good tackles and he was playing really physical. That's just not his game. I think it'll give ETN that cool down that he'll need. And also, again, you'll feel good about that backfield if, say, more than likely backfield's looking like, Dearness Johnson, of course, is going to be back up to Bigsby and ETN. I feel like Bigsby immediately jumps him in the order. JaMychal Hasty's going to be there. Snoop Connor, we'll see if they carry a fifth running back or if they put him on the practice squad or if they cut him outright. He was a fifth-round pick a couple of years ago. There's not really any attachment to him. But yeah, again, I think Bigsby was definitely a great pick when you really look at, ETN's history of being hurt with us so far. And just like, he's a very similar build, and he might not. I don't know that he has the breakaway speed like ETN does, but he definitely plays faster than his 40 times said, and I'm excited to have him.
And that brings me to another position that I didn't really think would get addressed because it wasn't a huge need. But the wide receiver position in round 6, Parker Washington, also out of Penn State. So he kind of double dipped from the school.
See, I'm glad you said that. I feel like wide receiver was a bigger need than people want to admit. We've got aging receivers. Calvin Ridley's 30 years old. Christian Kirk's 28, 29 now. Our youngest receivers are Tim Jones, who's like 24 or 25, and he's never started an NFL game before. He hasn't. I think he's only caught like 1 or 2 snaps actually, or balls like actually in a game towards the end of the season. We have Kevin Austin Jr. on the roster still out of Notre Dame. I mean, he's 6'2" and ran like a 4.3 something or 4.4 something, but
Christian Kirk is 26.
26. Oh, okay, he's a little bit younger than I thought. Zay Jones is when he's 28, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like
okay. Got him backwards. Yeah, Calvin hasn't played in a few years. Definitely. I think Calvin really took care of himself. Getting back used to the speed of the game and how Jacksonville likes to have routes run. Because every team has a different depth for their 10-yard out. It might be 10 yards, it might be 9 yards, it might be 12 yards. You never really know. Flags, posts, everything. So he's got to learn all that. They're getting some time in, and honestly, I've been telling people that Robert. He's literally like what we wanted Visca to be, but with speed. And I definitely agree with that. And that's my big point here too, is he's the same size essentially as Christian Kirk. He has the lower body of a running back. He's freaking 5'10", 215 pounds. Realistically, he's not exactly a burner. I think he's a 4.55 kind of guy. Maybe 4.5, 4.55. He's not super fast, but he runs super hard. People compare him to Deebo Samuel, the way that he plays. I think, a year or two behind Christian Kirk and those guys, we might be looking at a really good wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, if not even a wide receiver 2, depending on what happens with Ridley and Kirk with their contracts and stuff as we go on, or where Zay Jones goes. We only have Zay Jones through this season, and then we got to either re-sign him or let him go. So, uh,
Yeah.
it's definitely a move for the future, and I think that Washington fits that room and the way we like to play ball. And I think that he's kind of the gadget guy they wanted ETN to be. So we'll definitely see. It'll be pretty scary to have ETN, Parker Washington, Strange, Ingram, and like Ridley and Kirk on the field all at the same time in some sort of package.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely going to be something we can use versatility, and giving him a year or two behind guys like Kirk and Ridley is going to be really good for him.
Let's shift to the defensive side of the ball. Fifth round pick Yasir Abdullah, the
Love it.
linebacker out of Louisville.
Oh man,
He is a pass rusher, 19 and a half sacks in his last 2 seasons, 6'1", 237. So that's not bad.
he's a little bit of an undersized guy, but dude, he
Yeah.
plays so fast and he does not stop going for the ball. Even had a couple picks in his college career. Dude can really play ball.
Yeah.
Um,
42 tackles for loss.
yeah, he ran a 4.47 at the combine, and
That's pretty good.
he's a freaking nature, dude. 6'1", 237. And one thing they were talking about as well, I've heard is that like we've got these undersized pass rushers in a sense, like that are coming into the league now that are faster. But you got to think about it, like guys like Dwight Freeney. Like Dwight Freeney wasn't that tall; he was 6'1", 6'2", maybe, and he was a legendary pass rusher for the Colts. I mean, dude was crazy. Um, Robert Mathis wasn't very tall, and he was a great edge rusher. We've got these guys, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. They're both about 6'4", 6'5" apiece. You get a guy in there that's 6'1", a couple inches shorter, 4.47 40. He has great bend on him. You really have a change of pace and a different level. Exactly, Robert. That's exactly where I was going with that. He's the tackles have to come down to him versus if they're going for Trayvon Walker, sure he can get low, but he doesn't have elite bend. So, they're still at a relatively comfortable level. But to be able to block a guy like that who's not only blowing past you, but also lower than you, low man wins. I mean, he's gonna be able to get some dip and rips around there. He has surprisingly great strength for a guy his size. And then we'll just have to see. I've seen him push pull a couple of tackles that were probably 6'4", 6'5". I mean, he's really strong. He's fast. So I'm really excited to see how we move him and integrate him into the system as well.
Okay. And that leaves us with only the seventh round picks left to discuss. Um,
Woo!
let's talk Cooper Hodges. Is he one of the people
Oh,
that's on the bubble here?
I love that guy. No, he's making the team.
Okay. All right.
100% Cooper Hodges is making the team. You listen to this guy talk. He played for Appalachian State. We were one of the worst run blocking teams in the league last year. You listen to this dude talk. I've listened to some of his press conferences, watched some of the Appalachian State stuff. Bro, dude is a dog. He likes to get down and dirty. He likes to run block. They asked him like, hey, like, what do you prefer? Run blocking or pass blocking? He's like, I mean, obviously I like run blocking. That's one of the reasons I came to Appalachian State. Like, dude is crazy. He wants to hit people.
Yeah.
He's a tackle. He's going to play guard. He's going to move over to the left side of the line. He's going to be pushing out. He's going to be contesting Ben Barch, who might not be completely healthy at the beginning of the season. And I don't think we want to keep Tyler Shatley any longer than we have to at this point. Later in the season, as he played more and more, normally Shatley's been a pretty good guy, but at the center position where you don't have to be as strong as say guard or tackle. But I think that Cooper Hodges is a guy that if he keeps his nose down, grows that beard out a little bit longer, and just keeps on punching trees or whatever he does up there in Appalachian country, we'll be getting a really good late round pick out of him. He had top RAS at three positions. Are you referring to your Sir Abdullah, right, Robert? I just want to confirm with that one. But yes, Cooper Hodges, love that guy. He's absolutely nasty in the run game, has that mentality, and he's a guy that I'd love to see punching people in the mouth every play.
Okay. So, have we talked about any of the people yet that you think aren't going to make the team?
Derek Parrish.
Well, we haven't really got into him yet.
Well, you just asked if we haven't talked about anybody I think is going to make the team.
I said, all right, anyway.
Last pick in the draft.
Let's
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead and talk about the last pick. Derek Parrish, fullback slash defensive or defensive lineman slash linebacker at the University of Houston. He started one game at fullback in 2020, I believe.
Yep.
As a junior.
I think he actually only took one snap at fullback, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It looks like the entire intention here is to use him as a fullback.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do the Jags even have another one on the roster?
No, absolutely not. We got Doug Peterson as a head coach. We don't have a fullback. Um, I think the Derek Parrish is a cool circus pick. I think we kind of, I like the way he plays. He plays very strong, very aggressive. He's 6 foot tall, 247 pounds, something like that. Dude's fucking yoked. Like dude's traps are bigger than my head. He looks like Bane after he juices up. Like dude's going crazy over there.
Brrr. From the
But
shitty Batman movies.
I don't really know. I don't really know that he makes the roster. Mainly because he's kind of just one of those gadget guys that you don't really know where to put him. Yeah, like Robert just mentioned, what I was about to get into, he's got really short arms. So I mean, if you send him out to block somebody, that's got longer arms, and especially like say they're playing the Raiders, and Tyree Wilson's coming off the edge, and we send Derek Parrish at him. Tyree Wilson's going to be able to grab him before he's even in the same zip code and throw him to the ground because I mean he won't even be able to reach him. He look like Tom and Jerry. He's just holding him back. Looks like Juggernaut. Yeah, dude, I agree. He's huge, and I feel like he might be able to make some impact, but I just don't see us doing it. We've got Luke Farrell, who actually run blocks fairly well, more better than people will give him credit for. Realistically, if we want to run a big man set, we can jump, Cole Strange back at fullback and put Luke Farrell into block, and we can just power in there.
Brenton Strange.
I always fucking say that.
Who's Cole Strange?
He's the dude that the fucking Patriots drafted at like 27 last year or whatever.
Yeah,
from I keep on. Yeah, the one they reached on. Brenton Strange. Sorry. Yes, because he's played wide, he's played H, he's played fullback. He can do it. But Parrish might surprise some people. If he makes the 53 man, he'll be one of the he'll be one of the 5 that is sitting on the sidelines on Sundays without his pads on. But I don't really see it. Might keep him around on the practice squad in case we do plan on running power one week. But I just don't know that he makes the roster. I think he's too much of a gadget player that doesn't really have a real defined role.
Okay. I mean, I just want to see what number this man's going to pick.
Yeah, because 0's gone, so we can't pick that.
Yeah. I mean, I just want him to, can we put an X on him?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, unless we plan on keeping him to just give him the ball on 4th and 1, and just let him fucking take off up the middle of the line of scrimmage. I mean, sure, maybe, but I don't think we're keeping a guy to let him run one time a game.
Yeah, you're probably right. And that brings us to the final uncovered selection, the defensive tackle out of North Carolina, Raymond Voasaki. Vosek?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name either. I don't know.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody in the chat does.
I'm not too high on him. I think he's another one of the guys that probably won't make the roster. We've already got 5 or so D tackles on the team already. We signed Henry Mondo and Dogby as well. We got Tyler Lacey. I mean, I just don't see a place for him to fit. I think he was just another one of those guys we probably tried to trade up, and then he was just who we decided to kind of bring in for some competition. I don't really see him staying on the team. Not really have too much to say about him, honestly.
Yeah. It's mostly because I can't say his last name.
Yeah, that too. Vohasek. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like never mind. Anyway, so okay. Overall, where you came away from this draft, you didn't have a lot of glaring needs, but the needs you had, they were filled, and you had the opportunity to double dip in some situations and get people who can also do that job to kind of broaden the net, so to speak, to try to solve a problem or two. I would call this draft a very successful draft by basically any stretch of the imagination. So I can't imagine how Jags fans must be feeling.
A lot of them are kind of just being dickheads about it and talking about how terrible he was, and then now, as the days go by, everybody's like, oh man, this draft is good. I trust them, blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, just like 2 days ago, you were in here dog shit on them, like talking about how like Balky needs to go and we should never let Doug Peterson make picks. And now it's all, oh man, these guys are great, blah blah blah. What a great class. Like, shut up. I don't.
Mm.
Why are you grading a draft freaking 2 days after it happened? Like, give them a couple years. These kids they haven't even taken a snap yet. All right.
Yeah, and for those that I've already made a rant about grading drafts
Yeah,
and
no,
doing.
I mean, I was about to mention. I know you said that in yours. Like, it's just, you know, everybody like everybody said, even on the Jaguars like talk show. I mean, that Brian Sexton said, I believe it was Brian Sexton. You can't really grade a draft right when it happens. You got to give them probably 3+ years to really see who these guys are going to be. Um, some of them might show out early, but we definitely fans tend to be crazy. Wait to year three, ask exactly, Robert. But yeah, no, it's really something that I don't really want to get into in terms of like overall draft grade. I give it a B+ personally, mainly because I see some value in some players, maybe some other people don't. And I think that some of the later round picks are going to hit a lot harder than maybe some people do. But I could also see how this draft class could end up being not that great, but I trust them. As I always say, suck my balkies, and we'll keep on riding with him until he does something bad. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and the draft doesn't really leave many holes left to be filled in free agency. There's uh, not a lot you could really do at this point to. I mean, really, it looks like you're going to be cutting some veterans if a lot of these guys are making the team.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that might not end up making it. I think Daniel Thomas is on watch to get cut. He's a great special teamer, but we got a couple other guys that might be coming in. The only thing saving him is that he ran track in high school and college, and he's a good gunner. But I think he might be on his way out. There's a couple guys that are definitely on notice. Quarterman, like Robert had mentioned earlier. Um, Deshaun Dixon out of Norfolk State. Uh, we got a couple guys. Slot Buda Baker all day. Yeah, I just don't want to pay him when he comes over here, honestly. But we'll see. There's still a lot of time. Bulky said we're not done, so we already got a bunch of. We got like 11 UDFA's, I believe. Um, so we'll see what happens. I don't know that any of those guys end up making it, but we'll see. We still got plenty of time to find out.
Okay. Well, here's the last segment I have prepared for the live stream this evening, and it'll be a live King's Court, and I have one question for you. So, as the
Yes.
division crown sits upon your head, who after the draft, in your opinion, is the is there a change in the biggest threat to the crown?
No, no. It's still Jags, Texans, Colts, Titans.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any particular picks that you didn't like or liked from any of the other teams?
Not really. I feel like all the teams actually drafted pretty well. I just don't. I don't see Levis doing anything this year, especially. Um, Matt Ryan, I don't rock with Matt Ryan either. Um, I think that Richardson's going to take time to develop, but I think that with the team they already have, some of the weapons they have, and how they can run it, I think they're still going to be a dangerous team in the run game. But I don't know that their passing game is going to be too. I'm seeing maybe 3,000, 3,500 yards, if that, for Richardson in the air. Um, I'm thinking more of the 3,000, probably like 500 to 1,000 on the ground. So I think he's that dynamic as long as he can stay healthy. JT and him running the ball, I think they're gonna be good. But I don't know that they've put it together enough. And let's see if Quarterman, good lord, Leonard. Let's see if Leonard can stay healthy. They got rid of Gilmore and brought in Julius Brents and the other guy. I mean, they're both good, but they're a little bit raw. Brents is a big, tall, long corner. I like him a lot, but again, I think that it's going to be another thing where we've got to move around a little bit. And then the Texans. I mean, you've heard me say it multiple times. CJ Stroud was the best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion. I think he is, despite what people want to say about those test scores that got leaked that weren't even official. I think he's a very smart quarterback. He is a throw first quarterback. Um, and he only runs when he has to. And I think that's going to help him stay a little healthier than some of these other guys who just take off at the drop of a hat. Um, and again, I think the Texans made a lot of great picks in this draft. Not to mention they got Will Anderson, who is really going to help them out on the defensive side. And again, guys like Jalen Petrie that you guys drafted last year, who turned out to be a freaking menace. Love that dude. I just, again, it's going to be a very interesting, moving forward. I think the Texans do have a better team than the rest of them. They've got, a young running back. You guys brought in another running back, didn't you, this offseason?
Mike Boone, Singletary.
Singletary, that's the one. Devin
Yeah.
Singletary. He'll take a little bit of heat off of him. He's more of a receiving back though. He's not, a big up the middle guy. But it'll be interesting. I think the Texans had a really good draft. I don't think anybody drafted poorly in our division. I just think that again, at this point in time, Stroud's going to be the most, day one ready in my opinion. He's going to get the reps early, and I think they're going to move around. And I really like like Robert just said, dude, this guy's on top of it. I swear, he's reading my mind. I really like the coaching staff that they put together there. I really like D'Amico Ryan, so we'll see. I mean, Jacksonville's definitely the best in the South right now. But there's still a lot of time for everybody to build, and everybody's got young quarterbacks now, so we might be one of these divisions to beat here shortly.
All right, and I think with that we'll end the King's Court segment. Folks, let me get to some comments here real quick. Um,
T-Law versus Stroud. I am excited for
Moderate
that.
Texan podcast. What's up? How you doing? As a whole, I think most teams drafted pretty well, especially since this draft was pretty S tier, talent light. I mean, that's true. There wasn't really a lot of generational folk, but yeah, I think a lot of the teams did really well. I love the Colts draft, as he was saying. Um, Mike Vick 2.0 or Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, he does have that kind of floor to ceiling potential. We've talked about it a lot on the channel that he's either going to be he's the quarterback with the highest ceiling and the lowest floor by a long shot. It's just a matter of where he landed. Um, Robert, yeah, Hooker will ball. Um, T Law versus Stroud is going to be one hell of a matchup for years to come, hopefully. I'm still a little on the fence about Stroud personally, just because historically Ohio State quarterbacks are not it. But, you know, sometimes we course correct a little bit or there's a diamond in the rough. But
I
we'll
was
see.
upset when you guys picked Tank Dell. I really wanted Tank Dell.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I mean, I wanted Cedric Tillman. I thought we should have gone two third round wide receivers and got Tillman and Tank Dell. That would have been great. But um, I think at this point, I think we're about done with this live stream. Isaiah, I want to thank you for your time and your efforts, folks. I want to thank you for watching and commenting in the live chat. Robert, Moderate Texans podcast, with us the whole time. So
Woo!
thank y'all. And with that, I think we're going to be signing off. Isaiah,
Go
final
Jags.
comments. Hmm?
It was always the Jags. Run the damn ball.
Folks, be good people.